Hello everyone, my name is Steven with a V, or as some of you like to call me, Vtefin, and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading some malicious compliance stories, tales where following the rules lead to some just desserts. And let me just say, if you're not already subscribed to Storytime, please consider doing so. But with that being said, let's sit back, relax, and listen to some captivating Reddit stories. Vacation. Use it or lose it? Fine. Malicious compliance coming right up. Gary was an electrical engineer currently working for company AW. A dang good one. He was also an extremely dedicated and hard-working employee. He was hired onto an oil and gas company out of college and worked for the same company all his career. He was still employed there when he passed away 7 months ago. The oil and gas industry has ups and downs, and big ones. For the major oil field crash in the US back in the 80s, Gary was never one of the employees who was laid off, though 90% of the workforce was. Even when he became sick in the months before his death, he was still getting calls at home and in the hospital from around the world from various company locations asking for his help and expertise. Gary's company was bought out several times in the numerous decades he worked there. As could be expected, every time the company had new ownership, many of the benefits and company policies changed. This particular malicious compliance concerns vacation and PTO benefits. Gary usually worked at his local company facility, although he did travel as needed. About 20 years ago, his company AW was once again bought out, this time by an extremely large energy company, DC. The new company started a project almost immediately, and they needed a representative from the AW to help create a customized computer system to integrate AW more seamlessly into DC. Gary was chosen for this project. It required him to work on the project team at corporate, which was in a different state and 4 hours away every Thursday and Friday. This 15-month project was critical and at the request of the execs with DC. Gary postponed some travel plans he had for the year and moved them to the following year to accommodate the project schedule. Being a hard worker and genuinely good guy, Gary drove to corporate extremely early every Thursday, put in a full 10 hours of work with the team, stayed in a company apartment, worked another 10 hours or more on Friday, and would get back home extremely late Friday night after the 4-hour drive. He did not consider the driving as part of his work time and was willing to be a team player. He did have a company car and fuel card and was also a salary employee in upper management by this point. A few months into the project, DC decided to change the vacation policies for all AW employees. They did not allow any vacation to roll over, and therefore any vacation accrued had to be used or it would be forfeited. Gary had some major worldwide traveling plans scheduled over the next year, some of which he postponed as a favor to DC to help with the project. This had all been pre-approved and signed off by his boss. The change in vacation policy would require him to cancel 2 of the 3 vacations that he had planned because the new vacation accrual policy meant that he would not have enough vacation time to take them. He currently received 6 weeks of paid vacation a year, and rollover for 2 years was allowed with AW. Gary contacted his boss. His boss contacted HR and asked for an exception. Denied. Gary contacted the project team lead and explained the situation. The lead then contacted the corporate HR and pleaded Gary's case and asked for an exception due to the circumstances. This was also denied. And here comes the malicious compliance. So Gary then planned out a schedule to use his vacation before the end of the year as dictated by the new DC policy. It was in June, and his weekly schedule for the rest of the year went like this: Monday, vacation. Tuesday, vacation. Wednesday, work at local facility. Thursday, drive 4 hours to corporate, arrive at noon, work 30 minutes, take hour lunch, work 30 minutes, drive 4 hours home. Friday, vacation. Gary turned in the vacation requests. His boss, who was ticked that DC was already taking his most valuable employee 2 days a week and now screwing him out of his earned vacation, promptly approved. The following week, Gary started his new work schedule. The local facility immediately began to feel the strain. Jobs began to fall behind schedule without Gary there to support their end. In the first week alone, the facility lost 3 jobs due to late delivery of services. The corporate project immediately came to a near halt, with Gary only assisting 1 hour a week. By the second week, the bigwigs became extremely irritated. This was now costing the company some serious revenue. When Gary returned to work on Wednesday of week 2, his boss had a huge grin on his face and told Gary that they are scheduled for a conference call with the executives immediately. On the call, Gary and his boss were both questioned concerning Gary's sparse work schedule. When explained that it was the only way that Gary would be able to use his vacation time that he was being forced to use or otherwise forfeit, the execs brought HR on the phone and grilled them. Needless to say, Gary was given the exception for his vacation time. He was allowed to keep his planned and scheduled vacations for the following year and roll over the time needed to do so. This one just kind of boils down to one simple fact. Don't screw over your workers. If they've got this vacation time, don't force them to use it in some weird, super stressful way. Don't restrict them from things that you gave them and then try to take them away like candy from a baby. Owner says, yeah, you've been saying that for years and nothing bad has happened. A Sparky's tale. 10 plus years ago, rural Australia. This tale takes place on a big, very profitable fruit farm. Over 100,000 trees of my favorite fruit. It's about the moment I deliberately caused the most monetary damage of my electrical career. If that has your interest, read this story. I think it's funny and instructive. It may even save your life one day. I'm also pretty sure you won't get the bad feels. I want to tell this as it happened in rural Australia. It'll contain Aussie lingo and semi-technical info about water production. I try to keep it all relevant. It also has a few numbers. Very fine, lovely numbers. I'll try to explain and put things into context. If you don't like numbers or context or Aussie lingo, sorry, but we probably shouldn't go to the pub together. Background. After 2 years of planning, digging, inevitable plan revision, lots of pipe work, and much work by many people, this project was about finished. We'd already run the bore to an open head, flushing the column of drilling remains. We'd ticked off some of the electrical checklist and were finally ready to water the trees. The main cast, 16-inch bore, had 16-inch 40cm diameter heavy-duty lay-flat hose pipe connected. The stainless steel motor and pump connected were about 6 meters or 19 feet long and could pump out 120 liters or around 32 gallons per second. 120 liters is the magic in this tale. 16 inches diameter of water comes out at 120 liters per second. If my maths are correct, you could fill an Olympic pool in about 5.5 hours, or a 6-person spa in about 7 seconds. Big water. Owner in this story is his first or Christian name. He was a great older guy, smart, hardworking, caring, generous. He had a flaw though. Sometimes he'd listen, but mostly he kinda knew everything. He was also a top-notch older larrikin, fun-loving, mischief-making maverick. Great bloke and seriously wealthy. He also gave us fruit. Me, electrician. I'd been doing work at this farm for a few years at this point. My company even longer. We maintained everything, including the large automated sorting and packing plant. We got along well with everyone. I installed things, fixed stuff, and ate fruit. Ensemble actors, farm manager, leading hand, 3 farm hands, 1 other Sparky, 2 apprentices, including Scotty. All set, new big bore, group of sweaty blokes, big water, big power, larrikin owner. Story. It had been a long, hot, humid job getting this bore and its power and controls in and connected. The bore went 50 meters, 164 feet down the hole. A big crane put it in. All stages of the build were triple checked at every point. The scene. The bore is connected to the above ground main irrigation pipework, about 1 meter or 3 feet off the ground. The 9 of us are standing in the designated safety area near the big control cabinet, about 7 meters or 23 feet away. Owner pulls up in his farm toy, his words, not mine. A shiny 4-wheel drive wagon, engine running. Lowers the drive side window and says, "How's it going, fellas?" He's parked on the other side of the bore from us, about 3 meters or 10 feet away from it, on a gentle slope coming off the bore's concrete pad. On a big, wide line of big rocks and gravel tamped down on the ground. This line of rock and gravel extends to about 50 meters or 164 feet from the bore pad. This is the absolute capital W worst place to stand or park at a bore, let alone a bore this size. I've told owner to never stand there at a bore a number of times over the years. I've told Scotty to never stand there too. Scotty followed directions. He's aces. Me, friendly. Owner, we've been through this. That's the worst place to park. Can you move down the road where the other vehicles are, please? Owner shuts off the car, gets out, closes the door, and walks the 3 meters to the bore. The window is still down. He's standing right in front of the star of the show when he says, Yeah, you've been saying that for years and nothing bad has happened. Me, now very serious, Jesus, don't stand there, get over here. Remember when you wanted more water? Give me more water? You know this is double any of the other bores. That car is going to cop it, and I get cut off by the owner. Owner walking over to us, friendly mocking tone. Yeah, you keep saying that. Anyway, are we ready? He goes to raise his arms. I stop him. He likes to get all dramatic when a big machine is turned on. He's really a top bloke. Not yet. I can't turn the bore on with your car there, owner. Owner in full-on friendly mocking mode. Sparky afraid of a little water? Want me to push the button? Then kinda just bored like, push the button already. Farm manager is having no part of this. He keeps his mouth shut. He's clever and is also aces. I turn to the group. Can we all agree that I tried? I get nods and yas and yeps and uh-huh. Scotty doesn't know. He's never seen anything like what's about to happen. He just dutifully says yes. Okay, I may have named him Scotty just for this moment. Here we are, dear reader. This is the exact moment. I'm thinking, owner needs to see this. He really needs to see what star of the show can do. It's the only way I can keep him from being killed by it. It has to sink deep into his head. I knowingly put my finger on the green button. From where we're all standing, we can clearly see the bore and the shiny, fully optioned $110,000 late 2000s 6-month-old Toyota Sahara. I ask the other Sparky to watch the control panel screen. Me saying to the owner, Now, dear reader, please let me introduce the star of the show. Pressure release valve. From here on, valve. Valve is about a foot tall, made of brass, and is the bore's little brother. He's fitted into the above-ground main steel pipework. Valve's mouth is pointing right at owner's car. He's there to vent air, but Valve also vents water. Because, among other reasons, as an irrigation line fills, at some point it can or will go over pressure before it stabilizes. If the water goes over pressure enough, it makes the water angry enough to hurt the line and or the expensive gear. Valve lets the angry water out and looks after his brother. Remember the numbers and the maths? That was all for water going out an open 16-inch hole. Valve's mouth was a 4-inch 10-centimeter aperture hole. This would be like turning your garden hose on, then putting your finger over the end to spray your kids. We're all on the same page now. This should be fun, right? Let's see what Valve does. Owner raises his arms on high and yells, Give me water! He really did this. I push the green button. The control cabinet lets the electrons flow in an orderly fashion. No smoke. Valve whistles his tunes for a while as the air comes out. Then the water starts. It gurgles and splutters for a while. Once the air is gone, it's just water. And it doesn't take Valve long for the water to be a 4-inch dead straight column, going right through the open window and absolutely pounding into the passenger window. Under these conditions, when Valve has nothing in the way, he can ignore gravity for a while and make a solid 4-inch column of water go dead straight for about 5 meters or 16 feet until it starts to curve. See, Valve is awesome. Valve gave owner's car the good news for about 5 minutes. The rearview mirror tried to escape about the same time the engine stopped. It flew out the window, but Valve had a strong volley game. As the line stabilized and the pressure dropped, Valve started to close. Valve's water left the now shinier car, making a nice decreasing arc across the rocks, then stopped. Aussie's swearing here. From the group I heard 2 freak me's, 3 freaking hecks, 1 freak my brown dog, and a holy snacking duck crap. Scotty almost reverently, wow. Owner quietly with amazement, bugger me. Aftermath. Owner wrote the car off. The assessor asked if it rolled into a dam. Owner said he learned a valuable lesson. He now parks his toys 20 meters or 65 feet away. Owner now has great respect for Valve. Me? We took home lots of mangoes, and I got to tell you the tale. Scotty? Scotty grew into a capital T tradesman. We are still friends. Valve did his job for years to come. Every time I went to that boar, I gave him a pat. He was a good Valve. What another beautifully written story with lots of detail, almost more detail than we probably even needed. All you gotta say is the person who had a lot of money and didn't listen to the warnings by a professional got what they had coming to them. And I love how much passion OP has for his job and just everything, every facet of it. I loved it. And with that being said, that's all the time we have for today's stories. Thank you all for listening to Storytime. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the Storytime channel and leave any feedback you can in the comments below as I continue to develop this craft of sharing these stories with you lovely people. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.